There is no way to prevent yourself from suffering in life. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Eugene Day. Today I want to answer a question posed by one of my subscribers, which is, can you avoid being laid off? To answer this question, I think we need to think about the economy as a whole for a minute. There are a couple of major headwinds that I see approaching. The first is the government itself, which has completely changed how it does budgetary policy. It has implemented new taxes in the form of tariffs. It has shifted a great deal of federal resources away from scientific research, away from healthcare, and into law enforcement. So there's a lot less investment in a couple of major industries that really promote economic growth and job gains. The other major headwind, of course, is artificial intelligence. Now, I'm not of the opinion that artificial intelligence is really capable of replacing the intellectual labor of humans at the moment, but that doesn't mean that your boss doesn't or their boss doesn't. So that means that there are labor market risks to your job at the moment, because if the economy is shrinking, the labor market will probably shrink and people will be laid off. And it doesn't matter how good you are at your job, if your company decides that they need fewer people who do what you do, or if they don't need anyone who does what you do, then you will be laid off. And the other risk to the job market is structural. Structural unemployment means basically that the economy simply doesn't need what you do because you have been made obsolete due to technology. And there's a lot of executives right now who think that AI is going to cause a lot of structural unemployment because they think that it can code, they think that it can do legal work, they think that it can do healthcare work, they think that it can do translation work, and that the people who do these jobs are not going to be necessary and they can lay them all off and make more money. Now, this is a bad idea for a couple of reasons, of course. The first is that AI can't really do these jobs very well. And the other is that AI is currently very inexpensive compared to what it actually costs. And as time goes by, the companies that produce these models are going to have to start charging much more for them. And in order to recoup the enormous investments they've made, having AI agents is probably not going to be much cheaper, if at all cheaper, than just hiring people. But recognizing that and then acting on it to undo the damage that was done by replacing large numbers of people with AI is going to take time. And it's going to be concomitant with the downturn in the economy associated with the budgetary issues we mentioned. And so I think that we can prepare ourselves for 2 to 3 years of major disruption in the economy. And that's just going to happen. And there will be a lot of layoffs associated with it. So a lot of people are asking themselves what jobs are not susceptible to being replaced by AI. And of course, there's the skilled trades. Plumbing and carpentry are not going to be replaced by robots anytime soon. And those can be very good paying jobs. But they are not immune from the general downturn of the economy. If you work for a large company or even a small company and the bottom line is suffering, they are going to lay you off. There's simply nothing that can be done about that. But I think it's important to remember too that AI is not going to simply destroy the job market for people who code or who write legal documents or who do medical translation. These are things that AI can support in some cases, but we also know that AI makes people slower and worse when they use it. And so over time, I think that even executives are going to notice that they get less work done and poorer quality work when they have fewer people and more AI. And so there is going to be a reckoning. It's just going to take some time. So if you're a data analyst or a software engineer or a data scientist, I don't think you need to worry about a permanent apocalypse in the job market for your skills. I do think that there's going to be some disruptive events over the course of the next year or two. And I think that we are all going to have to get used to having AI in our workspace, but it's not a permanent destruction of the job market for people with your skills. This is not like you used to make torches and nobody needs to buy a torch anymore because we have light bulbs. And then, of course, finally, there's entrepreneurship, right? If you start your own business, you have a shop, you have a service that you do, no one can fire you if you're the boss, if you own the company. So I think that we are going to see a lot more in the way of small scale entrepreneurs as we see the elimination of jobs at the larger corporate level. And we see that in every economic downturn. But it is worth noting that just because you're an entrepreneur and just because you can't be laid off because you're the boss doesn't mean that you're not subject to the whims of the economy. And if the economy is poor, no one is going to want to buy your services, or at least not as many people are going to want to buy your services. And the result is there is no way to prevent yourself from suffering in life, which is why you should watch my next video, which will be part 2 of budgeting for a layoff. Thanks for sharing time with me here today. YouTube thinks you're going to like this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.